right, here we are again, Saturday evening, 7:01 p.m. Eastern, 4:01 Pacific. We do have a game of the day today, so we'll get into that a bit later. Vegas horse pools proxy numbers, we'll get into those as well. Still one survivor alive, is that correct, Scott?
Yeah, we've got one guy left. Hopefully, he can pull it off again this week.
Okay, so let's jump right into the games.
All right, let's talk about it. This is going to be the most even week so far. But before I talk about this, I want to talk about my buddy here, Riley. He's one of the, I think you guys call yourself Valley Boys. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're the Valley guys, basically. Yep.
Yeah, because I always call you the Arizona Boys because it makes more sense to me. But we've been friends clear since Bet Bash, so it's really nice to have you on the show. I know you were on Matt's show earlier in the week, and I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to let you ask Adam a couple of questions since he has been nominated for Tout of the Year. So I thought we might get some more hard questions. That way people think I don't throw him just the easy ones. What do you think about that?
Yeah, sounds great. I appreciate you guys having me on. I've been chatting all week, so might as well just keep it rolling.
There you go. There we go. And we'll get your contact information here and everything here at the end. Let's go ahead and get into the show, though. Adam, first game I want to talk about, and like I said, this is the most even week we've seen in the first 8 weeks. We usually talk about 5 games that are statistically different than the rest on the proxy service. This week I only have 2 games, and of course I want to talk about the Survivor game. Game number 1 I want to talk about, and I sure hope you have something on this one. This is the Miami game. I got Miami minus 3.5. This was the second most picked game by my proxy customers. How about the inside information from Prime? Do you need Miami or you need the other side?
We will need the Cardinals. Right now, this is the biggest split game of the week. Obviously, the Circa one, again, top-down guys hard at work, went from 3.5 to 4.5. Currently, we've got equal amount of bets on both sides, but 80% of the money is on Miami. So the bigger bets have come on Miami. Right now, we're needing the Cardinals, and that's the biggest split on any of the games of the week so far. So 80% of the money on the Dolphins.
Okay, so that means that'll be 1/2 of our parlay then. Okay, so let's talk about game number 2. You want to bring up spank odds for me, Adam?
Yep.
All right, here is the most popular game picked on the proxy service. It was picked by almost 1 out of every 2 entries that I did. It was none other than the Broncos at minus 9.5. And when you look at the first column on spank odds I have there, I have the Circa contest at 9.5. The next line you'll see is at Circa. That line's actually at 11. So that's definitely a top-down play. Riley, did you have any orders this week for this game?
I did not. This was one that was there was interesting with kind of some of the quarterback news on who's actually going to be playing in that game. So yeah, it was a little bit different, but yeah, definitely quite a bit of move on that guy right there. It's really hard to lay that, so I understand trying to grab it at 9.5. It's almost an obvious choice there on the board.
Yeah, for the contest, I believe it is an obvious choice, but in real life, not so obvious. Adam, give us the inside from Prime.
Well, it was obvious if you were in it early in the week. So as Riley mentioned, a lot of movement in this game. So we have bets ranging from -7, -20, -7.5, -04. We got a big chunk at -10, -10, and -10, -17. We did have one professional take +6, +34 early on. And then we've also got action as high as +13 at -28. So 80% of the tickets are on Denver, 66% of the money. It's not a big volume game, but again, we literally have a bet on every single number from -7 all the way up to, on the minus side, all the way up to -12. And then on the plus side, we have from +6 at every half-point increment all the way to +13. So this has been one hell of a moving game this week, with literally a 7-point spread. Obviously the money line attached to that spread varies a bit. Some are big dog prices, some are favorite prices, but literally at every half-point increment, there is a bet written on this game. Both sides, favorite and dog, all the way between those numbers.
Ah, that's very cool. Very cool. Well, let's talk about the third game that I want to talk about. This is the first game on the board, rotation number 263. This is the Detroit Lions. Riley, did you get any orders for the Lions this week?
Earlier in the week, yes, but then as the week's gone on, it's quieted down because that number has really stayed kind of put quite a bit this week, or at least it's still there now. So yeah, I think early stuff maybe, but then later in the week, no, it's quieted down for sure.
But you haven't got orders for the other direction on the Titans, have you?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. That's what I want to hear you say. All right, let's hear what the inside at Prime says, because this is the game we care about. This is the
This is very little action on this game. Overall, this week I felt it's been a little light. But I will say this: if the Detroit Lions get beat outright, the money line score will be pretty nice. It seems like there is some people laying this, 580, 620. So they're pretty. It seems like there's a lot of people pretty confident. So the survivors getting plenty of support with people actually putting down their money on this big minus price. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really good game, and looks like it's at the 10 o'clock spot. So we're going to have our answer very, very early in the day. Those are the only three games that I wanted to talk about. Riley, with all of the orders that you got during the week, was there any game that you wanted to hear the inside information from Prime on?
Yeah, I want to hear Adam's input on the Packers Jaguars game.
So it's funny you asked for that one because I have highlighted it. It's been very pro heavy this week. We have significant money at +5 and +4.5, which actually highlights one of the things I've said for a very long time. It's very hard to tout stuff as professional bettors because generally, and especially in all the things that I bet, besides some of these big American sports, the number doesn't exist once we bet. So, the +5's taken, the +4.5 taken. This looks like it's 4 across the board everywhere. But the pros have already gotten their plate full on this one and have loaded up big on the Jags on the plus points.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had seen across the week too. It looked like it was one that just at first glance for me, I kind of thought no brainers. This is a Packers play, but it seems to me like, yeah, most of the smarter minds are kind of lining up on the Jags. So I kind of stand there scratching my head on that one a little bit. So great input there. I do think there's another interesting game too. And I see Phoenix Adam has chimed in a little bit about it, but potentially what's going on with the Commanders if maybe Jaden Daniels is in versus Jaden Daniels is out. Are you seeing action on that one? Or are you seeing people just stay hands off? What's going on there?
So on that one, and we have it at half limits at the moment. It is a circled game, but we are almost dollar for dollar on both sides. Obviously, it's sitting at 3 - 20. Let me just open it up and take a little bit closer look. So significant money at -2.5. A little bit at -2. It looks like the bulk of it got down. There was a fair chunk at 1.5, laying 17 to 22. But yeah, the bulk of it at -2.5, a little bit at 3, and then on the flip side, big chunks at +3, and then a fair chunk at +2.5. But right now, we're literally a couple of thousand difference on that those two sides.
That prompts me to ask you, Adam. You were doing some live broadcasts before of some ARBs. I believe you're playing against Raz or playing with Raz. Are you going to be doing that for any of these NFL games?
So that's the idea again. It's been so busy the last month or so. I haven't had a chance. I almost got set up for yesterday morning stuff. I saw there was a release this afternoon, but I missed it. Generally, I'm even potentially looking at all their plays for this week and then moving some of those numbers back towards that tomorrow to draw a bit of action. I haven't done it since we've been on Spank Odds, so I'm really wanting to get involved and sort of, screw with that screen a little bit and get people's blood pumping a little bit about driving, to New Jersey or Ohio if they're nearby, or, doing something like that. So I may get a chance tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens. But I am trying to get as much of that action as possible in through the door.
Well, I think it'd be a great way for you to get a lot of action if you do some ARBs and you have the Spank Odds screen up. We've got a ton of customers, and I know they would love to play. So hopefully you'll do that if there's time, of course.
Yep.
I don't see anything moving on the screen right now on Spank Odds like we did last week, because I think we had a couple of them move during. I think it was last week we did that, or maybe it was the week before. But I don't see anything moving right now, so it looks like everything is pretty stable.
Yeah, the only other one that I've got highlighted is the Raiders against the Chiefs. There's a deceptive large amount of money on the Raiders money line. If I have a look a little closer, apparently we're at 362. 406 was hit pretty well. 379, 364. So there's definitely some money coming in on the Raiders in the money line. So I guess we'll be sweating that one if it's a little too close.
That's interesting. It looks like they're in Vegas tomorrow at home, so maybe that'll be a decent game. Kansas City's played well so far, so we'll have to watch for that. Riley, why don't you go ahead and tell us, how do we reach you? Give us the 30-second elevator pitch, what a mover does, because there's a lot of people that probably don't know what a mover does, and I think it would be nice to go ahead and just see if we can give a definition for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So myself and my team, we basically specialize in kind of getting action down across the market. So we're very blessed to work with some of the best originators there are out there. And then they bring their stuff to us, and we kind of tailor fit how to get down most appropriately across the market without making as much noise, and to just kind of capitalize on the liquidity that's out there depending on the time of the week. But yeah, our team's pretty much working all the time, and I can always have any conversation with anybody out there. So always reach out to me. On my photo down there, I've got Valley Blitz. That's my Twitter handle. So you can shout me out there and send me a message, and I'll get back to you. No problem. So yeah, but yeah, thank you guys for having me on here.
Yeah. So let me throw in a couple of quick questions. Like, what sports are you generally getting a lot of this action for?
So a lot of different sports, but for the most part, this time of year, we really focus on main markets. So today and going forward is going to be kind of like your college football, some of your NFL stuff, sides and totals. We definitely do a fair amount of UFC markets. And then, of course, we're getting here on basketball season. So everybody's gearing up for a very busy NBA and college basketball season, but it'll be sides and totals for sure.
All right. And then one, which will be interesting to hear your answer. When you have these originators coming in, is it often that you get the two groups on opposite sides? Do you get orders for opposite sides, or are they generally all on the same side looking for the same thing?
I wish that everybody was just on the same side. That would always be better news for me. But there's plenty of times where they're on opposite sides. For our group specifically, we really do work with a very tight network. So I don't have to deal with 10, 20 people sending me plays and just trying to figure out where we're at, because for my team and our earn, it's basically by taking action on those games as well. So of course, if we have a play that teams are opposite on, well, maybe I'm going to mitigate my risk a little bit. But for the most part, with a tight network, we don't see too much crisscross, thankfully. But it does happen. Usually what we see is a difference in how everybody attacks it. Some teams, it's always crazy to watch them. Some teams really hit the board a little earlier in the week, and maybe you'll see them start moving Wednesday, Thursday for those Saturday games. And then they have another team that comes in on Saturday morning when a line is moved by a point or so, and then all of a sudden they're taking it. So obviously that's pretty good indicators of the stronger plays on the market for me.
Yeah, sounds good.
You didn't ask him if he has guys in Ohio. I'm surprised.
We're everywhere.
There you go. I like to hear that. And I was really lucky to get to meet you and Curtis and all the guys at Bet Bash. So I was really lucky on that part. Bet Bash, I think, is something that everybody really needs to go to.
Oh, absolutely. It's as good of a networking event as there is out there. And so many good people in this business. So it's always nice, whether you work with somebody or know with somebody, you just really never know when you're going to need somebody for anything out there. And so Bet Bash is that way, just to kind of get face to face with somebody. And it's a great experience for all of us.
I 100% agree. Adam, is there anything you wanted to close with?
No, I think we got a good bulk of things. Again, that Denver game was really interesting with the spread of bets and numbers. So hopefully it's either, the underdog wins or it's a blowout and there's no Polish middles there sort of landing on us. But yeah, it's, as I said, it's kind of a down week, but we've got enough games to sweat and, we've still got plenty of time to get some more action in.
Definitely. Well, can we make parlay of the week Arizona and Denver and Detroit? Not Denver, Detroit.
No, let's. I guess the opposition of Denver. Who are they playing? No one ever wants to be on the Panthers.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, you might as well throw the Browns in the mix too.
Yeah. I thought the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals is the one. I think that's ultimately the one we'll be sweating. We'll try and get Arizona home over the Dolphins.
All right. So we'll just make it a single play. But I think the play should be parlay, but we won't hold this against probably the best tout in America here in Adam. But I think the parlay should be Detroit and Arizona. So we'll see how it plays out. And everybody who watched the Nebraska game today, it was not a bad game except for the outcome. Defense played an outstanding ball game. Just came up a little bit short. So that's about all I got for this week, Adam. Gonna lick my wounds, try to come back and fight again next Saturday.
All right. Well, all the best to everyone out there with their plays tomorrow, and let's see what it comes out with.
Everybody have a good night.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.